Hello, Chef Marcus Guiliano here, and I'm answering questions. Answering a question. I love to go to Facebook groups that I belong to and that I am admins in and sort of give answers via video. It allows me to say more and get more in depth. So here is this is from one of the bigger forums out there, one of the bigger groups, Line Cooks, old and new. And here's a question for female workers in the kitchen. I'm not a female worker in the kitchen, but I'm going to answer because I'm answering it as a boss's perspective. Okay. Lately, my head chef has been calling me babe, babes, baby, sweet cheeks. At first, it was funny, but now it's really starting to make me feel uncomfortable. I told him how I felt, but he says that he tells every girl that, but I don't see him flirting with any other female employees but me. Should I do something about it? Let it go and act like it doesn't bother me? Has anyone else experienced this, and what did you do? Okay, so first of all, every single establishment should have a sexual harassment and discrimination policy in place that every single employee signs, including management, supervisors, and every line worker should understand that policy. And that policy is something that needs to be kept in being enforced. I've had that policy in place for years. In fact, my first job as an executive chef in 1999, it was my job to write this sexual harassment policy for the country club. I was a young chef back then, 24 years old, and I wrote it. And ever since then, I've always had a sexual harassment discrimination policy in place. So wherever this person works, they should have that. If they don't, they're asking for a lot of trouble. Now, the fact is, she already went to him. She already went to him and said something. And at that point, he should have not said, well, I say it to everybody. That's unacceptable. Totally 100. If an employee did that at my place, I'd have no choice but to fire him because you're making somebody feel uncomfortable. So the way a sexual harassment discrimination policy should work, the ideal way it should work, every employee signs it. You tell every person who, if somebody here offends you in any way ever, shape, or form, you have 24 hours to come to me, and I will conduct an investigation. Being the boss, I will conduct that investigation. Now, you may want to, this person did the right thing by going to the person who's saying, hey, it's bothering me. And that should have been the end of it. Be like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. It's something I've done for years. I did, everybody's different. I won't do it for you. I'm sorry about that. I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. But it sounds like the chef did not do that. He just justified his actions and is continuing to do it. So if somebody did that in my organization, but you have to come to the boss. You have to go to the boss to have a sexual discrimination policy effective, okay? So my employees know you have 24 hours to come to me. I will conduct an investigation, and I've had to get rid of people in the past because of it, because they said something stupid. When I worked at the Broadmoor Hotel in Colorado Springs, 93, 94, I remember one of the cooks asked one of the waitresses out, go on a date with me, and she said no, and then she went to human resources, and that person got fired. The cook got fired because he was making her feel uncomfortable, even though she said no and this and that. And the fact is, you're making somebody feel uncomfortable in the workplace. That's not supposed to be happening in the workplace. Okay, so now, if this place does not have a sexual harassment policy, she should actually go back to the chef, and this is what I would do: go back to the chef and say, hey, if he does this again, say, listen, I spoke to you about this before. I'd like to see our written sexual harassment policy and discrimination policy that's in place here. And if there is not one, I help you write it because this is making me feel uncomfortable. It's amazing how a lot of places don't have stuff like this. You have to have stuff in place nowadays like this. You had to have stuff in place like this 20 years ago, but now in 2018, this should totally be a part of every single workplace and no excuses. Go to Google, Google something, find a template for something, and put it into place. Ask a restaurant friend if you're the boss and you don't have one of these. Ask a restaurant friend and put it in place ASAP. Now, I tell my guys, even if they tell a joke, that has profanity, that might be skewed a different way, that might be discriminating against something that's not even part of anybody in that room, in that kitchen, I pull them outside and say, hey, that was inappropriate for you to say that. Please read up on our sexual harassment policy. If somebody ever complained about what you just said to me, I would have to take action. I don't want to do that. because I feel that, we shouldn't be at this point. But, even though they understand what it is, and I've even had supervisors that will say something stupid, and I'll pull them aside. I'm like, you can't say that. But that person's comfortable in this and that. Doesn't matter if that person appears comfortable today. If they're pissed off tomorrow in the workplace or next month in the workplace, they're going to point the finger at you and come right back to you. And then I've unfortunately had to take action if that happens. So yeah, you're not in the wrong at all. You're not in the wrong. You're exactly meant to feel comfortable in the workplace. And it sucks that this person, the chef, is doing it. And I would say, and I know some of the comments were here like, oh, just suck it up and this and that. You know what? It's work. Nobody should feel uncomfortable at work. And he should be the one to say, suck it up and say, okay, I won't do it. That's the only person to be sucking it up right now is the chef saying, you know what? I'm sorry. I won't do it, instead of justifying his actions. Hope that helped you answer your question. And if anybody has questions on sexual harassment policies and things like that, shoot me an email at help@50mistakes.com. That's my coaching website, 50mistakes.com. I'd be happy to answer some questions.